Okay. All right, we're just gonna record this. I think we forgot to record it the last couple of times, but alas, we shall record today. All right, so like we said before, today is going to be APIs, which is a pretty big topic. We're gonna get into it. So first of all, what does API stand for? Okay, anyways, so API actually stands for a lot of things. Like when you Google it, it stands for Ankle Pressure Index, which is pretty interesting. Asian Pacific Islander, which I'm sure a lot of us are. Antecedent Precipitation Index. I actually don't know what that means. Automated pallet inspection. I think that's probably something like military. Aggressively passive individuals. I think normally it's going to be passively aggressive, but I think we can make aggressively passive work too. The art of painting incredibly, and since it's like a title case thing, you just leave the T in the lowercase, so it ends up working too. We have also anti-pulling institutions, and because we have anti-pulling institutions, we obviously have anti-pushing institutes, because you can't have one without the other, right? You also have a prickly iguana, or I don't know if it's plural or singular, since I'm sure there's a lot of them. And finally, we have application programming interfaces. So the last one is what we're probably going to talk about today, although I'm sure we could talk a lot about iguanas too. But yeah, I was pretty crap when I was making these slides, so just bear with me here. All right, anyways, what are application programming interfaces? So all right, we're just going to put a scenario here. So say like you want like a piece of information, right? Say you're making a website and you want to display like the temperature of Markham, right? And you just want to display on your website. Like we had made like a personal website, and we said like, here is you, and here's your information. And now let's say we want to display like the weather of Markham. So how are we going to get that information first of all? So this is where APIs come in. What you do is you call an API by sending it a request. So the thing is like, maybe you could like say, okay, right now the temperature of Markham is, what is the temperature of Markham actually? It is 20 degrees, okay? So technically you could just write 20 degrees, but what if we want like actual like information, like in real time? So like right now it's 20 degrees, but like tomorrow it might not be 20 degrees, right? So you want to keep like an updated information such that like anytime the user checks the website, like they'll see the current weather. And you can't just like display the information once and like keep updating every time the weather changes. We need a more like sustainable way, right? So that's where API comes in, where it's kind of like a source of information, right? So if you want to display the weather on your website, you would call this what we call an API. And we call this API by sending it a request. And so what happens is the API then receives your request, and it kind of does some background work to make sure that your request is what we call valid. Like if your API key is valid, things like that, and then it sends back a response. So think of it like, I don't know, Google. Like you ask Google something, and Google gives you the answer back. It's like a source of information, and that's kind of how APIs work. And then you basically take that response, which is the temperature, and then you display it on the screen. And so that's like a very high level idea of how you use an API. That's not exactly what an API is, but I think that high level is what we kind of want today, because we're not going to have that much time to delve too deep into how like the inner workings of that work. Like I said, yeah. All right, so APIs, like I said, are really useful. So for example, they can display the weather, obviously, like you take some API that is for the weather. So when you call it, it sends you back the information, but that's not all they're useful for, right? So here's some other examples. There's also like, for example, this is like a satellite tracker. So maybe NASA has an API. And so you basically call that API, maybe it has something on like satellite or orbits or whatnot. And you could take that information when you call it and they send you back a response. You can use that information to like, I don't know, plot it across like Google Earth or something. And like we see here, this web app can basically take that information from an API and be able to show you when you can see like certain satellites. We also have like COVID-19 dashboard, right? So this is John Hopkins dashboard, I think. But they obviously have some sorts of information. Maybe it's just their backend. Maybe it's some other WHO's information, whatnot. There's going to have an API you can call. And so you call the API and they return you all that data of like which country had how many COVID cases, how many deaths, what are their vaccinations looking like. And you just get a whole lot of data from this API. And then as your front end, you take that data and put it into graphs, maps, things like that. So yeah, APIs are really useful. And I'd say most websites you see are going to use some sort of API for their like backend authentication, just grabbing data from somewhere. They're very instrumental to most websites. So what are we going to be building today? I thought the sun emoji, that's today, but the sun emoji didn't show up well. Anyways, so you might probably guess, we're actually going to be making a weather app. That's why I don't know if you saw the classroom message, but I asked you guys to sign up for the Open Weather API. And so they actually require you an API key to use that. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Basically, you can type in. Actually, I'll show you guys what it looks like. Actually, this is what it looks like. That's all I really need to know. So you just type in the city, and then it displays all this information. So yeah. So let's go. So I'm gonna put this link. Actually, yeah. So what you want to do is so here, just take that and fork it. Okay, you can either take this link, like open up that replit and fork it, or you can just make a new replit and then copy the CSS. I took a page out of Ryan's book there because no one likes CSS. And so you can just take that or make a new replit and copy the CSS here. Also a lot of stuff. Okay. Yeah, just do one or the other, I guess. And yes. All right. Okay, sweet. So let's get started. So the first step is the HTML, right? Okay, so I'm assuming you're all ready, hopefully. We are going to start then. All right, so cool. So we have this HTML file. We're gonna start working on the HTML first. So right now this is like pretty standard blank HTML file. And so we're gonna make this structure of this like, card-ish. And so first of all, we're gonna start off by making a title, because when we open this, there's no title. So we're gonna make one. All right, cool. So we're just gonna do title. Wait, title. I'm trolling. Okay, to title. Okay, that's how it goes. All right, and now I'm gonna make a weather. I'm gonna call it weather app. Let me throw an emoji. Wait. Why is the emoji working? Oh, there we go. All right. Let's wait, it just disappeared. That is kind of tragic. What? It literally just showed up. Anyways, I guess we are not going to use the emoji then. All right, so we call the title weather app, and then when we run it, we refresh this tab, it's called weather app. Wow, okay. So that's basically what we needed to do because the rest is kind of set up. When you create a REPL, they link the CSS and JavaScript for you. Exactly, we can make that now. All right, anyways, so we're gonna start off by making a div. So this div is going to basically be this container here. So we're gonna just kind of call it a container because that's how our CSS is set up as well too. So div and then class equals container. And then within this div, we're gonna have two divs. So one of them is gonna be like the because when you don't have anything like when you don't have anything set up, like when you know how you're still waiting for the user to type something in, it's just gonna be like, oops, it's just gonna be like a smaller rectangle. And then when they actually type a city in, we're gonna expand it. So we're gonna call it content to this next div. You could do div dot. Oh, okay, yeah. That's it. We do like in Emmet, you can do like dot something, and I just set it directly to the class. So we're just gonna call it. We're gonna make an H1. It's gonna be this one. So we're just gonna make a weather app. So weather app, and we're gonna have so we're gonna have like this thing. We need to make it an input element. So basically, the user can just type a city in, and it's gonna give them that like a space to type it in. So input. I'm gonna do a couple of things here. So type as text. That's cool. Actually, I'm just gonna take this out. Type equals text. Class. We're gonna make it input. ID. We're gonna make it input as well. And then placeholder. Enter the city name. Okay, cool. So that's what we kind of got. So what happens when we do this? Yeah, so cool. Basically have this weather app. The CSS does everything for us. So we can do like markup or whatnot. So the idea is when you like do markup, you do like enter, thing pops up. But obviously, so you don't have anything set up, nothing happens, right? All right, cool. So we're gonna make like sort of ghost. I don't even know what you call it, but it's kind of like right now we don't want like right now this works, right? Because we don't have a city name entered in, so it should just be like that. But when we type a city name, we want to like have things show up, right? So we're kind of just gonna make what that looks like. So div dot. We're gonna call this main weather. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're just gonna put like a bunch of text placeholders. The idea is for this is we're just gonna put like a bunch of paragraphs first, and then when we enter like a new city or we enter our first city, it just basically replaces that text with what information we actually want to put in it. So we can do this. Does that work? Sweet. Okay, so we're gonna have a paragraph. I'm gonna make this ID equals city. So we're basically gonna type a city, but then we're underneath it, it's gonna be like Markham, Canada, right? So just to confirm, it's the city you're actually looking for. Then we'll have another one, ID equals temp, so temperature. We're gonna have another one, I think it's gonna be min max. And finally, we're going to have weather type. Just set random one like cloudy or whatnot. All right, so that's basically our HTML. We are basically good to HTML. So right now, we don't have anything because it doesn't work yet. But ideally what happens is when we enter something in and we click enter, the JavaScript will set the JavaScript such that it basically pops this stuff out. Yeah, we'll get into that later. All right, cool. So that's basically HTML. And then we're gonna get into CSS. Can you copy the, what do you mean by the main weather code? Like the HTML? The div main one. Okay, yeah. No worries. Yeah, I went kind of fast on that one. Let me know if I'm going too fast. So we have time. Yeah, so that is that basically. Yeah, so this one we're basically just declaring 4 paragraphs. Paragraph elements. Is my screen too small? Large. I'll make it huge. Oh, that's kind of big. Never mind. I think it's fine. All right, cool. So we're gonna jump into the CSS now. So the CSS kind of works already. But what I wanted to do actually was be able to make a cool looking font. So this one, it kind of works and all, but we want a cooler one. So I think someone went over this before, but since you're making your own weather app, you want it to look nice. So we're gonna jump into here and we're just gonna find a font that looks nice. There's a lot of them here. Poppin's a nice one. I like Inter though. Inter is nice. You can find whatever font you want. So just go to fonts.google.com, or I just posted the link right there. And you can just find a font you like the most. I'm gonna choose Inter. And yeah, so there's a lot of different typefaces here. I'm just gonna select 400, I think. So I'm just select the regular one. And then what happens when you select it is like this thing on the right pops up. And it's a link, right? Yeah, so you see this stuff pops up here. And what you want to do is just take this thing and copy it. And then you go back to the replit. And at the index.html, in the head, I'm going to slap that in there. Cool. And what you also do is you take this thing, copy, and so we finished the mention in the head just to import the font. We're going to go into styles.css. I'm going to slap it in our body. You see we already have a font family. It just set to sans serif. But we're just going to paste that here. And then now when you click run, you go back, refresh. It looks a lot. Actually, I don't remember it being this. Actually, whatever, it works. But yeah, I think you could select more. So you can select 300, 400, just select them all. Or add more styles. That didn't work. Oh, yeah, anyways, but yeah, just kind of spice it up a little. Add a new font. And then you take markup. Yeah, cool. Okay, and what did I say? Let's just walk through the CSS. So even though you didn't type this, I think it's still good to go over like what each thing does. This is the body. So we're selecting the entire body element here. So it's basically the entire thing. I'm just going to set the entire font of the body to Inter in my case. You can choose whatever font you wanted to do that. And then we set the background color to this kind of like grayish. So as you can see, like this isn't white, right? Or wait, yeah. So this is like some kind of grayish thing. Line height is like, this is all just font, like the text stuff. And we're actually gonna use flex. So we actually taught flex a while back, and we're actually gonna make use of it now. So as you can remember, we also did the container thing. So we go back. This entire div is a container. So this thing is the container. And so we're going to set the container to white. So FFF is white. And we set some padding and some margins just to like add some space between things. And we also add this drop shadow. So as you can see, there's a drop shadow here. It looks kind of nice, right? And then, yeah, so these two things are for the drop shadow. Then we have H1. So H1, as you can see, we had a underline kind of. We did this with border bottom. So basically, it was kind of like a, sorry about that, that's my dog. I don't know if you guys can hear it. But yeah, border. So kind of use the border property to set like an underline. And then we also had a padding. So I guess that's what made the space between those two. We also had a margin at the bottom. So that's kind of the space here. And then we aligned it to center. we set input. Okay, there's a lot of stuff here. So we set border to none, outline to none. We set the font size, the align is center. We made it bold, made it flex. We set random margin stuff. So yeah, it's kind of standard stuff. The point of this is basically when you put the cursor here, the enter the city name goes away. So basically when you focus on the placeholder, like focus on the placeholder, it goes transparent. That's kind of what it's doing. Those are the main weather. So right now it's called display none. So with display none, it means it doesn't show it. When the user enters in their city or whatnot, we're going to change the display to display block or show or whatnot. And we also have the line height, the height of the actual thing. Yeah, random stuff. The color of the font. And we're making it bold. And then dot temp. I think this is for the temperature. So I think they made the temperature here a little bit larger. Yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of standard CSS just to make it look nice, you know? Yeah, that's basically it. Sorry about that. All right, so pause because we need to figure out how to use an API. Let me present again. Bro. All right. So we use something called fetch. It's kind of ironic, but so fetch is a JavaScript function. Allows us to make a request to APIs basically. So we use fetch to request or to call an API, and it can spit us back some info. Oh, Yang is here. That's wild. Okay. So the syntax is kind of simple. It's just fetch, and then you slap your URL between those two parentheses. So here's a bit more into the asynchronous stuff. What fetch does is it actually, wait, did I skip a slide? Oh, shoot, my bad. All right, I trolled. Thanks, Ryan. All right, anyways, that's funny. Okay, so, my bad. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be using the Open Weather API. That's why I asked you to sign up for an account beforehand. But if you didn't, that's okay. You can sign up right now. So I'm gonna put this link here. So it's free, and what you basically need to do is we're gonna be using this one. It's called current weather data. So access current weather data for over any location, including over 200,000 cities. Wow. So yeah, there's basically a lot of stuff. We're gonna be using this one. Basically, what you do is click sign in, and then you click create an account. I already have an account, but yeah, basically that. So yeah, make an account. Yeah, so just go to the Open Weather API thing. Go to that link I just put in the chat. Thanks, Ryan. Just go to the link I put in the chat. Click sign in or sign up, and create an account, and do that. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. I'll just give you my API key because we're kind of running short on time. Yeah, anyways, I'll sign in. So yeah, after you sign in, yeah, you're gonna want to go back to the link, to the Open Weather Map.api, and then you're gonna want to click subscribe. I already subscribed to that, but yeah, you're just gonna click subscribe, and then you're gonna go here. I mean, the quota is actually pretty good. I think they give you like 1 million requests a month. Yeah, that's the API key. I'll give you my key later. Yeah, I'll give you my key, but I'll just put a key in the chat later. It's not like I really use this anyways. So yeah, when you're using APIs, they normally have limits because you could just have a hacker that just like sends like 1 billion requests over the span of like 2 minutes and then bring your server down. So they generally are gonna limit you. So we're on the free plan right now. So you get 60 calls a minute, which is really good. You get like 1 every second, up to 1 million calls a month. So yeah, you're probably not going to be using all of that unless you actually have real users using your service. Generally, it'll be good. We're just making like a pet project. Anyways, now I'm going to look at the docs. You could also just go here and click API doc. But yeah, here's the docs. So this is basically the URL I was talking about that we're going to have to put in. But anyways, so let's go back to the slides where I sidetracked myself so conveniently. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to be using fetch. So what's going to happen is when you call fetch and you throw in the URL, our URL is going to be like https //openweather API whatever, right? And when you call this function, it's actually not going to give you the data right away, kind of, because the request takes time, right? You're going to have to send the request over. The API is going to look at it and be like, is this request valid? Are their credentials okay? And then they're going to grab their data and then they're going to do some operations with it probably. And then they're going to send it back to you. And that takes time. And so when you call it, you can't expect the response right away. So they return you something called a promise. So the promise is basically like, it's basically a promise to you that they're going to return a value to you. You're going to get something back. We don't know what it actually will be just yet. So you kind of have to wait a bit. And so the way we deal with promises is through something called asynchronous programming. So this is kind of like a whole new thing. You probably, even if you take grade 11 or grade 12 computer science, you probably won't touch on asynchronous programming because Java. But anyways, in JavaScript and in a lot of programming languages, it's a pretty big thing. So in regular or normal stuff, oh, cool. Okay, but yeah, anyways, in normal stuff, like you just kind of code, right? So you have like one line of code, and just like it just runs one process after another, right? And it jumps from like one line of the code to the next, and like it just kind of goes in sequential order. Even if you have like classes or different functions, like things are just normally going to go like, right? But in async programming, since we have these things called promises, it throws in things like the event loop, whatnot. And so we have to wait for, by introducing asynchronous programming, so we can actually wait for these promises to actually run. So we kind of quote unquote stop our code. It's not really stopping our code, but we're just waiting for that piece of code to run before we do anything else, at least on that current processor thread. It's kind of like the watered down version of it, but that's kind of what you kind of think of it. Because like if we have this, we're waiting for this data, right? If we really need that data to kind of move on, we kind of just have to wait for it, right? So it might show like a loading screen or like a bar that's like, I'm break party, but like that loading bar where you have like that thing that like just goes across the screen. So that's usually when you kind of have to wait for something to happen before you can really show the user any meaningful things, right? So there's two ways to kind of go about asynchronous programming in JavaScript. So we have async await, which is kind of like I think right now it's probably more dominant. And then we have the then catch. Then catch is kind of older. The two sort of, it's not the same thing though. Async await just like looks nicer. It feels nicer too. But yeah, so we're gonna be showing you both. All right, so let's get into it. So our HTML and CSS is done. Jump into our JavaScript. It's empty. So if you go back into the API docs, where you see we're gonna use this one. So we have this thing, and then we have API. So I'm just gonna declare them as variables just to make them easier. So I'm gonna go back here, and I'm just gonna set. So I'm just gonna declare a variable const URL equals, and Here's the URL. That works. Yeah, we're gonna have it. I don't know why they didn't give us the HTTPS. We need to add the HTTPS // and then so we're just gonna end it there, and then I'm gonna do const API key equals. Okay, so I'm just gonna if you have your own API key, use yours. You can find your API key by again going to API keys, or you can just use this link. I already put it in the chat. Yeah. So if you don't have one, just use this one. But if you do have one, use yours. So yeah, const API key, I'm just gonna put it in here. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna do that for now. I'll also paste the link, the URL, just so you guys don't have to go copy it. Cool. All right, anyways. So we have all our kind of constants declared. And I'm gonna create a function called function get weather. And we're gonna have it pass in the city. Hello. All right, cool. So we're gonna start off using the regular then catch model. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do fetch, and now we're gonna put the URL in here. I'm gonna use something. It kind of makes JavaScript strings easier, but I'm actually gonna do this backtick. It should be on the top left of your keyboard. This backtick, and it basically makes it a lot easier for us. And I don't think we taught this before, but it basically allows us to make kind of concatenate strings easier. So we're gonna start with this URL, right? So I'm gonna do $, and then these curly braces. I'm gonna slap URL in there, and then oh wait, take out the Q. My bad. All right. Yes, you should probably do that. There's okay. Technically, even if you put them in the environmental variables, like people who really want them can still find them. But yeah, it's generally not good practice to put them directly in your JS. But right now, who cares? I just put the API key in the chat, Steven. Yeah, if you're on the actual thing though, you could just do that and copy paste it. Yeah, don't do that. Remember to take the Q out of it. Let me just paste it in again. It's just that. Wait. Oh, jokes. Okay, this one. Oh wait, no. I'm actually trolling so hard. Yeah, it's here. Yeah, so keep the question mark. Anyways, okay, Q equals. So if you go back here, Q equals city name, right? So we're gonna do that. We know our city is called city because we passed it in. So I'm gonna do another $, curly braces, city, and app ID equals. I'm gonna slap in our API key. It's gonna be that and API key. Ooh. All right, cool. That's gonna stay constant throughout. But now we need something called .then. So .then. There. All right, cool. So .then. So basically .then is basically saying you, okay, I'm gonna send you a request. When it comes back, then I'm going to do this. So what we're gonna do is we're going to .then. Yeah, so .then is kind of like a function, right? And the interesting thing is like the parameters of that function is another function. So we're gonna it's gonna give us a response, right? And the response is we just call it details. So details. I'm gonna use this arrow syntax. And I'm gonna have it give return details. .json. So we're going to convert it to JSON form. And then the funny thing is when you do .json, that also returns a promise because it takes time to convert the response to JSON. I have to do dot then again. And then I think right now what we're going to do is we're actually going to log it to the console. So console.log. Oh wait, we have to rename it again. So just say final console.log. All right, bet. And this all out. All right, cool. So we're gonna have to throw it a city, right? Because right now we're just calling it on the fly. Oh shoot, that's gonna be kind of annoying. Jokes. How are we gonna do this? I didn't make the function get from the. I think it'll still work. All right, cool. So I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna go to the weather app. I'm gonna have to jump into the console a bit. So I'm gonna do inspect element. Oh yeah, I'm on Safari. It's gonna look a little different for me than you guys. What? Syntax error, keyword expected return. What is going on? Anyways, whatever. Wait. Oh, jokes. I didn't wrap it. I apparently need to wrap it in this shit. Right. Yeah, okay. I guess I'll do this here. Wait, do you? I'm gonna try again. Oh, we're almost running out of time. That's wild. Okay. So we're okay. Can we can just call functions, right? Okay, cat weather. Cool. So as you can see, it threw us a lot of stuff here. And this is basically what it's gonna throw us. So like clouds. What's the weather? I think it's gonna go main temperature. Oh, another thing. We're gonna have to set it to metric is the units is metric. So as you can see here, units, standard, metric, imperial, standard units by default. Why do people still use Fahrenheit? But anyways, I'm gonna say and units equals metric. All right, cool. Oh, refreshes. Yeah, weather. I'm on console right now, by the way. There we go. So if we go to main, around is 21.65 degrees, and max and min is 26 and 18 degrees. The function? No. Here we go. Don't worry, by the way, I'm gonna give you all the final code later. But yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna go with this actually. This is the kind of regular one. We can also do the async. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do async. We're gonna put the async before the after get weather, but before the parameter. We're actually gonna change things up. So we're gonna do const details equals await. I'm gonna take this. We're just converting it to async await right now. I want to do const. What can we call this thing? JSON equals await details.json. And we can do console.log JSON. Ideally, that should work the exact same. So basically, instead of chaining them with bends, we basically just assign it to a variable and then do await. So await is kind of awaiting for a promise, basically. So ideally it should work the same. Oh, jokes. Expect an opening. Did I do it wrong? Did I forget how to do async functions before a function's parameter list? Do all that. Async. Oh, you're right. I was thinking about another programming language. That is a little tragic. Okay. There we go. Sorry, guys. So it should work like regular. Boom. So throws is a pending and it's resolved. Okay. And yeah, throws is the same thing. Cool. All right. So that is step 4. We made the async functions. And now we're just going to do the last step of handling the DOM. So we're going to make a thing called okay. Basically, we have this input here, right? We need to make an event handler for it. So we're going to do const. Yeah, that works too. Okay, const input equals document.get element by ID. And we call the ID input, right? I want to do input dot add event listener. And there's 97 more. We're going to do on key press. Basically, we're going to say when you hit enter, it's going to do a thing. And then the second one is going to be an event listener, which is a function. We'll call it event. And all right, cool. So what is this event? It's a keyboard event. So if we search up keyboard event JavaScript, wow. What does the end give us? In this case, you had a key interaction with the key on the keyboard. And a lot of different things. Now if we search up key code, it represents a number representing a system on the unmodified value of the press key. So basically, we can, by using .key code, you can figure out which key they pressed. We basically want it to be enter, right? So let's see, enter button JavaScript key code. Enter is 13. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do if event dot key code equals 13. And we can say, we're gonna ask it to get weather first. So it's gonna be get weather. And then we do input dot, so we're gonna take this input and we're gonna take its value. So yeah. And then after that, remember how we had this this hidden main weather class? We're gonna show it now. So before the display was set to none, right? Now we're gonna set its display to block. So we're gonna document dot. Can't we just use get element by ID too? Oh, we only use class. So if we only have class, we just do get a query selector. Dot main weather. I want to do dot style. Yeah, dot style. We're just getting it CSS. And I'm going to set its display equals block. All right, cool. And so now we're actually going to do something with this JSON. We're going to create a new function called, let's make this name. Hey, we're going to make this called show weather. It'll be a function, show weather. Now we're going to pass in this JSON. So what are we going to call it? Weather info. Weather. So we're just going to actually call show weather JSON. And now we're going to modify the DOM. So let's see how much time we got. Oh, we got 4 minutes. Perfect. All right. So we're going to edit each of these things one at a time. So we have city, right? So we're going to get its document, get element by ID. This one was, I believe, city, right? And then now we're going to go back to our weather app thing. This is really small. I'm sorry, guys. Can we make it bigger? Oh, yes, we can. That. All right. So where's the one that was name markup and country? Do you guys see that? So it says Markham country, Canada, right? So we're gonna do oh, we need, my bad. So we need to declare a variable. So let city equals this. All right. So now we're gonna set city.inner.html. Yeah. So set it equal to, we're gonna use the backtick thing again. And now we're gonna use class or JSON stuff. So it's gonna be details.name because it was under name. And then we're gonna do add a comma and then be details dot, what was it? Details.sys.country. Very cool. Now we're gonna do, hey. Oh, I need it. Wasn't right here. All right, cool. Now we'll do let's, what is the next one? Let temp equals, just gonna copy this. Let temp equals to get element.id temp. And when I say temp.inner.html is, ooh, it's just gonna be a number. What is this? There we go, main temp. So it's gonna be details.main.temp. However, we're gonna want to round it. So we're gonna do math.round. Boom. All right. Oh, we're also gonna add a degree Celsius. Because right now it just gives us a number, right? Degrees Celsius, simple. Take that, copy it. Let me put in the chat too. Are they depreciated? How are you supposed to do it now? Let's do let's get the min-max one. So let min. Oh wait, I don't know why I called it temp. It's temp. Min max. Where'd the y come from? Min max.html equals. Let's try to find where the min max was. Okay, so it's main temp min temp max. Yeah, so kind of just gonna. Okay, so we're gonna do min. Oh, okay, we can use a bracket, so we can say min. Now let's just say how to do it here. We did it here. Yeah, so we just get the temperature, round it, min, and temperature, round it, max. Cool. Min. So it's detail.main dot temp min. Temp. And then what do we do? I think and yeah. Temp max. looks like the weather, right? Rain. Weather type. Where's weather type? Details.weather. Let's open this up. Oh, main. Okay, cool. So I want to do let weather type equals weather type. I spelled that wrong. And then weather type equals, what is it? Details dot weather dot main. Cool. So ideally, this should work. All right. Honestly, I have to do some debugging here now. Cannot declare the variable twice. What do we have? My bad. I copied it twice. Hopefully that works. Sweet. Now let's close this. And I'll call it get weather. Unless someone's spamming my API and not letting it work. Let me see if it called. Oh, we have an error. Details. Oh, wait. Hot weather info. I'll rename the details. Lovely. Let's try this. Let's go. Okay, why is it undefined? Okay, I'll try to see what we did wrong. Details.weather.main. Is weather type wrong? No, it's weather type. Details.weather.main. Let's go back. Let's log this out again. Console.log. Hi. Oh, I need to type it in first. Markup. Messages. All. There we go. All right. So it's weather object. Oh, it's at element 0. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we can do weather. All right, cool. All right, let me take out the debugging. All right, so here you go. There you go. All right, so Markham, Canada, 22 degrees, min 18, max 26, and clouds. Wow, it works. That's crazy. Okay. It's not raining anymore. Okay. But yes, that is our weather app. Go on to our slides. Bro, my voice is so hoarse. Yeah. All right, where are we at? We did that, and we're done. Wow. So actually no, I just give you this. If you want to try it out, don't spam my API. But yeah, that is that. And here are some additional improvements you can make if you want. You can display icons. So if you look at their icon. Yeah, they actually have icons apparently, so you can display those. You can also use other APIs to display more information about the city. For example, you can have more weather information. So as you can see here, there's actually oh yeah, I took it. But there are things on like atmospheric pressure, humidity, things like that. You could display that as well. You could also get like use some Google Maps API or and just display like a map of the region. Maybe the population, any attractions, things like that, or anything else you can think of. So those are some additional improvements you can make if you want. And yeah, thank you for coming to our very last meeting of the year. So yes, that is going to be it from me. Yeah.